was thinking about what was I going to say, and getting ready to come here today. And Aaron, my son, and I were at the co-op in Ashland. And if you know the co-op in Ashland is if you stay in the co-op in Ashland for like 2 hours, you'll see everybody you know, and also seeing it's like a film. It's like Portlandia, but it's Ashlandia. So I go up to they have a juice cutter there, and I was ordering a tea to take on the road. And standing next to me is a Buddhist monk. And he's a white guy, but he's wearing, yellow here and orange, and he's decked out. A young guy, he's getting around. And she walks up to the guy. She doesn't know him. She says, "Look, let me ask you a question." She says, "If I asked you to help me move, would you do it?" And he looks at her and he goes, "Yes." She says, "Okay, good, I'll be right back." She walks away, and I say to him, "Move what? Like, what, does she need you to help her move her arm?" And he just like this. She walks back, and I say that to her. I said, "What do you need to have moved?" And he looks at me and he says, "She thinks we just sit on cushions all day talking about compassion, but we don't actually do things for people." Right? And he walked away with her. He was going to help her move her house because she wanted free labor, and he was a Buddhist monk, and he did that. So I was there like, wow, okay, Ashland, here we are. The woman had like the gall to ask this guy, and this guy's, he's a Buddhist monk standing in the co-op getting his wheatgrass, So I started thinking about it, like, okay, you guys put me in that setting to see that, right? So on one level it was amusing, on another level it showed me something about what I wanted to say here today. Because I think the title, that made up Through the Heart is not a New Age woo-woo, it came from my understanding, from having talked to many people for many years about this work, and realizing that, of course, I'm listening to what Jackie's saying, you can interpret these words, heart, spirit, divine, this and that, and you can put it in a context of an ungrounded, disconnected, fantasy world that has nothing to do with reality. So you would imagine, this woman can imagine, that a guy who's a Buddhist monk living in Ashland, Oregon, well, he would have nothing to do with people. He's just going to sit and talk about compassion. He's going to talk about the heart. He's going to talk about forgiveness. I guess that's what Buddhist monks talk about, and not put it into practice. So I started thinking about, okay, what do I want to talk about? So what I want to talk about is the transition, the actual difficulty that it is to arrive at living from a different place in our bodies, in ourselves. Therefore, our lives becoming different than they are. Why would one want to do that? Well, some of us don't have any choice. Some of us are presented with illness, loss, challenges that come unexpectedly, that force us to confront what our lives are about, force us to make choices. We are blessed with having choices to make, and we are blessed with the ability to make choices, right? It's one thing that distinguishes us as human beings. But some of us, many of us, are put up against our lives, and we have to make choices. Most of us, up to a certain point, confront those choices and choose to try to fix the thing that we're being confronted with. It's the first line of defense. If I'm confronted with an illness, I want to fix it. So I'll go to those who would claim to fix it for me. Doctors or healers, or looking for the person who's going to give me the answer to my problems. if I'm confronted with a life crisis, another different kind of life crisis, a crisis in relationship, my first instinct is to try to fix it, to try to make it better. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works for a little while. But when we are confronted with our life bringing us the opportunity to come to live from a different place, within a different life paradigm, none of those things work. It doesn't work to fix it. It doesn't work to rearrange it. It doesn't work to try to make it better or find somebody to fix it for us. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? It doesn't work because I used to live in Boston, and the first job I ever had was working as an alcoholic counselor in a detox center. And there's an expression in the alcoholic world, pulling the hair off the dog that bit you. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that, right? You pull the hair off the dog that bit you. So in the alcoholic world, it's that, you got drunk, you feel terrible, and you get up and you take another drink because you think it's going to make you feel better, and then it just makes you feel worse. So we do the same thing in our lives. We go back to try to fix the thing that doesn't work, when really what we're being faced with is the opportunity to let it go and let something else happen. Right? This can happen through, in my work, I spent 40 years doing healing work. So I saw people over and over again coming to me. They'd come to me at the end of their tether. I was the last resort a lot of times, many times, for years. I was the person who would see the people who had seen everybody else. And what I learned over the years was most of the people who were coming to me were those people who had tried everything else and it hadn't worked. If it had worked, they would never have gotten me. So what I learned to do was to sit with people and observe what was really happening, or as in different kind of language, what was trying to happen in them that they were resisting out of fear, out of ignorance, out of just not knowing what to do. What was trying to happen in this person's life where their relationships had fallen apart. What was trying to happen in their body that they had tried so hard to fix, but it didn't work. What was trying to happen in their professional life, that they kept trying to get the same job again and do the same thing and do the same thing, and it kept not working. So rather than my being the person who tried to patch it up for them, I became the person who sat with them and helped as best I could to help them to go to what was trying to happen, to give in to what was trying to happen. And most of the time what I found, what was trying to happen was a transition in the way that they lived on earth. That the falling apart of health, the falling apart of their, what looked like their lives, of their professional life, of their personal life, when traced back in their lives, originated with what I came to call a prayer. But this is another one of these words. To me, prayer does not have a particular form. It doesn't have particular words. It doesn't require that you be in a particular place with particular people, wearing particular clothes, doing particular things, believing particular ideas. Prayer is an inner communication between me and that which is greater than me. However I frame that. I can frame that as my higher self, I can frame that as God, I can frame that as, like the Buddhist monk, as the numinous. I can frame it as, yo, you guys. Right? But that moment when I say, okay, look, what I really choose, what I really want, what I really want is this. It can come in a dream, it can come in anytime. When I would sit with people later in my practice, healing practice, and trace back with them, and then start to trace back in myself those same things when my life had seemed to fall apart, when my health didn't work anymore. Tracing it back to a moment when I said, something needs to change here. This is not working. And I don't know how to take the next step. I don't know how to become the person that I know I really am. I don't know how to change this situation that's making me crazy. I don't know how to honor myself. I don't know how to do it. Help. Help. Who? Help however you frame it. Help me, help me. Help you, help. And from that moment, because we have ultimately the right to choose. My life, these people's lives, in many cases they came to me because I was a healing practitioner, their health, my health, started to go wrong. But it wasn't going wrong. It was creating the situation where they had to confront that which was preventing that prayer from being realized. I don't know how it works, to tell you the truth. I just see what it does. I don't know how it works that the person who's trying to find a new direction in their life falls off their bike and wrecks their right leg, which is the leg that has to do with stepping into the world. And in the healing process of healing that leg, they have to change their life and change their job, and they end up being exactly where they prayed to be. How'd that happen? How'd they fall off the bike at that time and hurt their right leg and do it? I don't know. I see it again and again and again and again. Somehow we have this brilliant, perfectly tuned in inner being, each of us, that knows everything that we don't consciously know, and is plotting, seems like sometimes planning certainly, for us to face exactly that which we need to face inside ourselves, reflected from the outside, reflected from people, reflected from situations, plotting to bring us the opportunity to realize our prayer. Now, I wouldn't make a claim that every illness, every situation, I don't know about every. I can only say in my life that's how it works, and in the many people I've been given the honor to work with, seems really consistent. So when we get faced with that life crisis, that health crisis, we have the choice of how to work with it. And most of us, especially because we live in a culture that is centered around, right, from the central principle of this culture is, we can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. You can make it happen. Now we know that in a lot of situations these days, it's not as true as it used to be. But this is a central principle of this culture. Right? We can do, we can manifest, we can change, we can make. You want to make your body different? Join the gym. You want to make your life different? Go to school. You want to make your relationship different? Find somebody else. Right? That's where we live in this culture, right? So the first line of working with things is we try to fix it. And we're very good fixers. My way of understanding human beings these days, how we operate, because it's my wish, my prayer has been, how can I help? How can I help? I saw the misery around me. I felt the misery in me when I was a child. I saw the destruction in my family. I grew up in the 60s. right? Some of you remember the 60s, you read about them, right? You saw that movie, right across the universe. So I studied, how can I best understand this? Because this is what we have, right? We came in with a body, this is what we have. This is the gift, called the gift of the body. That's what we have. So how can I best understand that to try to help? So I studied many different things, many different methods. I trained as an acupuncturist. That was my first. I was trained in bioenergetics. I was trained in all kinds of different therapies. All the therapy I did for myself, I studied. And I did a lot of therapy, so I studied a lot of therapy. What I came to understanding was this that's on the wall here. You can look at it afterwards. It's called the chakra map. And what it's helped me to do is to, in a very simple way, understand this that I'm talking about. Where are we? Where am I living through in this body? And where am I trying to get to? We are each living through this body, right? I'm talking to you through this body. You're hearing me through this body. We are loving each other and hating each other and hugging each other and talking to each other and living this, interacting with the world and feeling and sensing and knowing and seeing and all this through this body. Used to be we didn't have it. It will be someday pretty soon for all of us. We won't have it anymore. But right now, that's what we have. So, how are we living through this vehicle? And how are you doing driving it around? And how am I doing in managing it and making use of it and appreciating it or depreciating it? So I started studying this, and I was given this. It's a story that if we study together, I'll tell a little more. How to understand this thing. Where was I living through? Literally, where in this body am I coming from? Right? An old expression. Where are you coming from? What I realized is for myself and for almost everybody in this culture who is an adult, where we are coming from, literally where, is right here. We are living through this place in our body. This is in the chakra system is what's called the third chakra. We live in a culture, right? And you all live in a town that is in some ways a fantastic example of this culture, of the third chakra culture. Bend is the do-it place, right? Right? We're here for what we do here. We go here and we do this and we work here and we go do this class and we go from our yoga class to the gym and we go from the gym to the we eat on the run and have a meeting and while we're talking to ourselves do this and then we go and sleep for a little while and I'm sorry I can't really meet you. I can this evening. I'm sorry I can't. That's when my new bike's going to come in. I gotta go to this right? So I'm making a joke, but this is the world that we live in, and we live in the United States. We live in the quintessential, in all of history, expression of the third chakra. We have built this country, right? This country was built by people who came here, who didn't live here, who decided, okay, I'm going to tear that down and put that there, and then I'm going to move that over here, and all you people, you don't belong here anymore, so we're going to kick you out, and then we're going to make this. It's what we did, and it's what we do. Now we do it more in technology, and we are doers. And I'm not saying that negatively. I make use of all of that as well. And from that, we have created what for many of us is the good life. We have good lives. We have very good lives. We have been faced recently with many external circumstances which have given us the opportunity to look at those lives and say, what do I want to do about that? Is that what I want to do? Do I want to try to keep fixing it? Do I want to try to keep fixing it? Adjusting it here, adjusting it there. Our political system is based on that. Republicans say, well, we're going to fix it this way. And the Democrats say, well, that's a stupid way. Let's fix it that way. And the other ones say, no, but that's even stupider. Let's fix it another way. I'm saying there's another way that we are all being called to. And some of us, as I said, are called to it through illness, or called through it through crisis, or called through it without having to get to that point. We're called through to it through intuition. We're called through it through a feeling, through a restlessness. We're called through it sometimes, if we pay attention, through dreams, through moments of epiphany, through, like, as they would say, like, shit just happens, and you go like, wow, what was that? Most of the time we don't pay attention. But since we live in the universe of at least one more chance, it comes around again. If we pay attention to the more subtle things, to the more subtle messages, the more subtle opportunities, we don't have to get a lot of times. Somebody said it in a workshop, which is a 2x4. He said, I have to keep getting hit in the head with a 2x4. So if we pay attention to being touched with the straw, sometimes we don't have to get to the 2x4. But a lot of us do. I've had plenty of 2x4s in my life. And I look back and I was like, you know, I wish I would have ducked. Or I wish I would have recognized, you know, like, oh, look, there's a 2x4 coming down the road. Maybe I'll change direction. You know. What is the third chakra? Third chakra is the place of manifestation. It's the place of doing. It's the place where our personal will has an opportunity to act. And depending on the strength of our personal will, and depending on the arrangement of that chakra in us, we are more or less successful manifestors, changers, choosers, doers. There are people, I'm sure there are people among you here, who are really, really excellent manifestors. And there's probably people here among you who you're not so good at it. You don't fit in so well. People who are not great manifestors and don't have super strong third chakras in this culture have trouble a lot of times. But there are also the people who tend to find other ways, tend to find other ways of being on earth, artistic ways, spiritual ways. So there's a certain advantage. There's a disadvantage in that if your third chakra is not doing so great, you're probably not going to be making as much money as other people. You're probably not going to be as successful in the eyes of the culture. But you're going to have a quicker opportunity to do something else, which is what? Make a transition, these 4 inches. I'm tall, so I have 4 inches. Maybe you're shorter, you have 2 inches. From here to here. From the third chakra to the fourth chakra. And my proposition to you is that most of what you face in your lives that you would call difficulties is trying to move you from your commitment to your third chakra, to your heart, to living through a new place. Right? It's like moving into a different house on the same street. Right? And you're trying to fix that house up and it's leaking and water's falling, and the roof's falling in and you're spending all your money trying to fix it. At some point you say, you know what? The house next door is empty. I'm going to try living in that. And you leave your house and you go live in the house next door and you're like, wow. Right? Look at the view. Right? The roof doesn't leak. No, I get that. We're being called to live in a new house inside our bodies. And we're very resistant to it. Because we're used to this way, we're used to living in a particular way, through a particular way, you know, through a particular mechanism, you know. Because we live in a culture that supports this, doesn't support this, right? Because what? Living through the heart is New Age woo-woo. Makes you a fool. Right? You're going to be taken advantage of. You're not going to be productive anymore. You're just going to sit around like the monk. You sit around talking about compassion all day. These are the images that we have, even among alternative people, right? Among people who are open. There's lots of resistance. In our workshops, this is what we work with a lot. All of us. I have this, right? I've been doing this work for a long time. The tendency is to like, okay, I'm going to go for what I know. What do I know? I know how to fix it. I know how to distinguish, right? The third chakra is about discernment. So I want to say, this is a me, this is a you, this is a yes, this is a no, this is a good, this is a bad. I make this 4-inch jump, and none of that makes sense anymore. Yeah, there's a me, there's a you. But where do we meet? Where is our unity rather than where's our distinction? How can we work together rather than I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, cool, see you later. Send a postcard. How do I collaborate? The heart calls me to collaboration, doesn't call me to discernment in the same way. It calls me to harmony. I don't know how to be in harmony. Harmony seems like New Age woo to me. Why would I want to be in harmony? I'm doing fine. I'm me, you're you. I'm making my decisions, except they're not working anymore. So the opportunity of illness, the opportunity of life challenge, the opportunity of things seemingly falling apart, or just this restlessness and, okay, my life is great, and everything's terrific, and what? The opportunity is to explore a whole new way of being. That, the secret being, does not lose you what you gain being a very well-developed third chakra person. You don't lose that. But what you do is you put that under new management. See, because the third chakra doesn't know how to be in harmony. It's like asking someone to sing an Italian opera when they don't know how to sing. You can't blame them for it. Why would you get mad at them? Go find somebody who knows how to sing. The third chakra doesn't know how to be in harmony. It knows how to be in distinction. It doesn't know how to collaborate. It knows how to decide. It doesn't know how to be unified. Even inside one's body, it doesn't know how to unify all the parts. That's what the heart does. The heart is designed to be the center. If you look at the chakra, you have a chakra chart, you have 3 below and you have 3 above. The one in the middle is the heart. It binds everything together. It's meant to bind together. It's meant to bind relationships together. It's meant to bind health together. It's meant to unify and harmonize. So it's a really interesting juxtaposition that we have in our bodies. We have this here that is about distinction and making boundaries and making decisions, and we have this, which in some ways is very much the opposite. Seems like it's, and they're 2 to 4 inches apart. And this one is calling. This one is calling. And it calls you in various ways. Why is it doing that? Because there's a natural progression, there's a natural development in a human life. And I'm not talking about something here that's ideological. I'm one of the things I've learned in my recent years is ideology, if there is such a thing as the devil ideology, is the devil's tool. More than anything else. I'm not talking an ideological thing. I'm talking my observation of the natural progression built into a human organism. We come to a place in our lives, a moment in our lives, when what's supposed to happen is we are supposed to move into living through the heart. Because that the heart is, by its nature, linked to both the human dimension and the spiritual dimension. If you look on the chart, you'll see that the heart, different than the other chakras, has two colors. There's a pink color and a green color. In other words, they have their own individual color. Pink is human relationship. Green is spiritual relationship. The heart has both. The heart is naturally designed to link us to other people in relationship and also link us to the quote, invisible world, to the spiritual world, to our own higher nature, and then, depending on how you frame it, to that which is part of us but also beyond us. It's built that way. And my understanding of why we are on earth, to put it really simply, is we are here to learn. We are here to, through this body, interact with this world, with each other, with everything that is here, and learn from that, progress from that, grow from that. The food of a soul is information, is education, is experience. That's what we're here to do, as far as I can tell. And each of us has a progression of many, many lives through which we do that. And in some lives we learn a lot. We have a little basket before we come on into this life, and we put little pieces of paper in that are lessons. Some people say, sure, give me that, give me all of them. Those are the people we have to give lots of respect to, because they're going through lots of difficulty in this life, learning lots and lots and lots of lessons. Some people learn one or two, and we look at them and say, wow, I guess they came here to take a vacation this time. Don't worry, next time their basket is going to fill up. That's what we come to do. The mechanism by which we do that is the progression in each life through our chakras. The first chakra is connected to survival. It's connected to tribe, to family, to inheritance. So, baby comes in, what does that baby do? Baby is eating and growing and shitting and feeling and connected to its family, and it's a longer conversation, but we go through in our lives these chakra periods. The biggest one is the third chakra. That's the time when we're making and doing and working and training ourselves and interacting with the world and impacting the world and doing all that a third chakra does. We do it more, we do it less, we do it how we do it, and then it's done. Not done as in we don't do that anymore, but that's not the main emphasis anymore. The main emphasis is the heart. And in that, then, so to speak, we have to take the reins of the horse, of the stagecoach, from the third chakra, and we have to hand it to a new driver. Look what I'll do with my hands here. We take the reins from the third chakra, and we go like this. And we say, okay, you drive the stagecoach now. Do you know in the old westerns what would happen is, there's some guy driving the stagecoach, and here comes the hero on a horse, jumps on, and then they start fighting. And the hero grabs the reins, and the old driver smacks him and knocks him back, and he almost falls off, and he comes and crawls back on, and he smacks the guy. Eventually, and they trade places for a long time. Who's driving the stagecoach? Eventually, the hero knocks the old driver back, and the old driver ends up sitting in the stagecoach being a passenger, and everybody's happy. That's the process of third chakra to fourth chakra. Long time when we make that transition and we make that choice to say, okay, my heart's calling me. I don't know how to do this, right? The ultimate healing prayer is, I don't know how to do this, but I choose to do it. I don't know how to heal this, but I choose to heal it. I don't have any idea how I'm going to make it through this. I don't know what any of this is about. I'm completely beyond anything I know, but I choose to go. That's the ultimate healing prayer. So when I get to that point, through, as I've been saying, illness or choice or intuition or dreams or whatever it is, or it just makes sense, why not? When I get to that point, that process starts. There's a process that starts in my bodies, because we have multiple bodies, in my bodies, of a transition from here to here. Where is my center? Through where am I living? Where's my point of reference? Huh? My center of gravity, where is it? It goes from here. And that process, as I said, of the stagecoach switching drivers, go back here and I try it out again, and I go back to my third chakra and I live that way, and I try to fix it, and I try to make it better, and I try to work harder on it, and then I come back and I have the experience of beating my heart, and I like it. It feels really good. I feel at peace. And then I go back to the other way because something happens and I don't trust my heart. It's just New Age woo, and I'm just sitting around like, what am I doing? This heart thing, my life's falling apart, and I go back and my life falls apart anyway. So I have to come back to this, and eventually I rearrange it. So that my third chakra, my ability to do and choose and manifest and all that, discern, serves the heart's plan, not its own plan. The third chakra eventually always will end up in conflict. Always will end up in conflict. Because that's what it knows how to do when it doesn't have another energy informing it. It doesn't know how to do anything except discern. So we will just keep discerning. It needs somebody else to say, whoa, wait. Why are we doing this? What's the purpose? Why am I living my life? Am I living my life just to manifest? Am I living my life to do and to do more and then to do more and do more and do more and do more? For what? Damn, he just did, didn't he do? Maybe. He will. I did a lot of shit in my life. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done lots of different things. So what? The moment when this happened for me, actually, I'm going to tell you this. When this happened for me, this happened when I was about 37. Which is a very common time for the what they call the midlife crisis. About 37, and I was sitting on the bed. I was in bioenergetic therapy at the time. The bioenergetic therapist, traditional bioenergetic therapist, the client is in their underwear, and they work on a single bed because you're pounding and you're kicking and you're crying and you're like getting in touch with lots of emotions and clearing lots of stuff. And I had done this for 3 years with my Brazilian therapist. And so I'm sitting there in my underpants on the bed at the end of this therapy session, and I'm there, and I've been, crying and screaming and going through, and I've been doing this for 3 years, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I have this understanding, this totally clear understanding, that I was normal now. Like, I was okay. I healed a lot of my childhood pain, I had released a lot of stuff. And I had this my relationship with my wife was much better. I had 2 beautiful kids, and I was pretty successful with my career. So that was my first thought. I was like, wow, I'm normal. My next thought came to me was, so what? And that so what became the prayer that's guided the rest of my life. Because what had been is I had released, I had cleared up, my second and third chakras were way better. I wasn't holding a lot of the stuff from the past because I had huge amounts of pain, blah, blah, blah. I was okay. I was functional. So what? That was mine. And it was unbidden. It wasn't an ideological thing. It wasn't like, you should say so what. It was just like my being said, so what? Really? That's going to make you happy? And in that moment, I was like, okay. So I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you the key to healing from the third chakra, the fourth chakra. I was going to wear it, but it's actually not very great. Ready? Central Light Institute. I was going to wear it, but I knew we were filming and it would be like all bulky and stuff, so I was like, I'll just show you. I was just in Brazil, right? I was just in Brazil in a community we're part of there, and we have really good friends there. And I taught them this. And one of our dear friends, she goes to she and my wife Jane went to the ocean. Last day we were there, and it was cold. It wasn't a really great day. And they're standing on the edge of the water, and they want to go in the water, but the wind's blowing, and our friend says to Jane, "Oh shit, oh well, let's go." And then we're like, so "oh shit, oh well, let's go" is going to get famous in Brazil. But that is the key, right? You're like, wow, really? That's what I have to deal with. What do I want to do? I want to run away. I want to pretend it's not there. I want to turn the film back, and I want to go back. Oh shit. So I'm going to struggle with it, and I'm going to try to fix it, and I'm going to say it's not true, and I'm going to be in denial, and I'm going to take some pills, and I'm going to blah 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 blah, and I'm going to do whatever I do. And at some point I'm like, oh well. That's how it is. This is what my being has presented me with. That doesn't mean I have to like it. You know what I mean? This would make it New Age woo if we pretend that it's like, oh, that's just, isn't that great? Terrific. Fantastic. Oh, you're sick. That's wonderful. No. It sucks sometimes. It sucks. Life on earth is hard sometimes. Pain is not fun. Right? So crying about it and screaming about it and not liking it and being pissed, good, awesome. Let's go. That's part of let's go. Part of let's go is like, it's all here and I'm going to work it. I'm going to transform it. I'm not going to transcend it. This work is not my work, the work that I've been given to do, the work that other people have been given to do with us. It's transformational work. It's not transcendent work. We are not in denial. We are not pretending that it's all wonderful. We are not pretending anything. We are coming into a space together, seeing, feeling what's real, and we have a secret. The secret is that light, what Jackie read in the beginning, right? That other New Age woo thing, divine light. Divine light is not New Age woo. Divine light is real. Divine light is an emanation that comes from the center of the universe, and it is what makes everything glow with life. It is life force. Called light because that's what it looks like, it's what it feels like, it vibrates. That's real. That's not something, and that has nothing to do with religion or ideology or belief. Because what we do is we experience it. And when you experience it, all that stuff is third chakra stuff, right? Belief, ideology, right? My religion, your religion, my idea, my word, your word. That's third chakra. Come to the heart. It's through the heart. The heart is the bowl. The heart is the bowl that light can come and fill. When we experience that, as we say, for real, it's real. And you can call it something else. So, what we do is bring our third chakra, our second chakra, the material that will, as it is transformed, become the fuel for this jump, right? The two forms jump, because it's a jump and it's against gravity. So you got to jump it. The transformation of that lower self material will be the fuel by which I can jump. And then I don't have to make it New Age rule. I don't have to put an idea, a fantasy, a picture on it. It's an experience. That's the difference. So it's light that provides what I'm doing here, provides this, the vibrational impetus, the vibrational motivation, the chemical, what do you call it? Catalyst. The catalyst that creates the reaction, energetic reaction that opens up our bodies and moves us into our hearts. That's not theoretical, what I'm saying. That's what happens. And I'm making it a very shortened version, and it's a powerful and sometimes difficult process to be to be living that reaction, to be living that bubbling, to be living the shake-up and the confusion that can come because I'm different than I was, and it seems like things are falling apart, and oh my God, why did I ever pray for this, and what an idiot. Right? I've been in the middle of transformation sometimes and literally been complaining like, oh my God, I'm like, what am I doing? And literally a voice will come and say in my ear, you prayed for this, remember? And I'm like, why did you listen to me? Didn't you know that I was stupid? But that process of the interaction of light, consciously called divine light, consciously called whatever you want to call it, a spray of fairy dust, puts the prayer into fast motion. My point of view is you're going to go through it. We're all going to go through it. We will get to our hearts. We will. Some people do it the second before they die. Many people, right? Whatever. My father was a crabby guy and he was just mean all the time and blah, blah, blah. And I went to him at his bedside and just before he died, we loved each other. Mm-hmm. It's a very common thing. It also happens, that doesn't happen, right? People don't get there. My attitude is, well, let's do it now. Let's do it now. Let's not wait. What do we lose? What do we have to lose? We have to, what we have, right? The expression, what do you have to lose, in English has three meanings, right? Like, well, because we said, well, what do you have to lose? Right? Oh shit, oh well, let's go. Right? What do I have that I have to lose? And what must you lose? So yeah, we do lose something. Can't have it always. I can't be completely committed to my third chakra and live through my fourth chakra. I can't. So yeah, I am going to lose something. There's some stuff I'm just not going to care about anymore. I'm not going to be so attached. Some things that I've defined as important. My competency is not going to be quite as important to me as it used to be. Doesn't mean I'm incompetent though. It just means I'm not so attached to my competency as my identity. Who I am starts to be revealed as something much deeper and much more subtle and much more intimate than who I've projected myself to be, which is who I thought I was. I thought that I was what I was showing the world. I thought that who I was is what I did. But that's who I was. No, it's not who I am. It's what I do. When I start to find myself here, and I start unfurling the petals of my heart, because the heart, as a chakra, has 12 petals. Right? Has 12 aspects. When I start unfurling those, I start to discover that my identity is the feeling, the vibrational sense that I have inside me, not the reflection that you give me. It's a different way to be on earth. And so the external becomes less important. Paradoxically, I become actually better at it. I become more confident because I'm less attached. And I don't fight anymore about things just because my third chakra is to fight. If I take a stand and I need to be firm and do something, it's because my heart's saying, no, this is important. This is important. This is important. And it's not important because I need to win. It's important because there's a feeling here, there's truth that needs to be spoken. There's something that needs to be affirmed. There's unity that can be created here. Love wants you to do something different, say something that you didn't think you were going to say, do something that you couldn't imagine doing. The heart's like that. The question is, when do you say yes? A lot of us say yes-ish, right? Sure, unless it gets too uncomfortable. The bad news is, once you start down the road, you got to keep running. Because your being gets very excited. Because like, yeah, we're going to the heart. Go, let's go to the heart, let's go there. And when I go like, whoa, but it's too hard. You know, the being's like, no, but we're going to the heart, let's go to the heart. No, yes, no. And we get in this yes, no, yes, no. And a lot of illness comes from this. Lots of illness comes from that yes, no. The tension that's created inside the body of trying not to allow something that needs to happen. It's really hard to stop a natural process. It's hard to stop it. Harder than it is to give in. If you give in, you go through transformation and things move. But if you fight it, you get sick. You might get sick anyway. Because all human development, all human spiritual progress up to a certain point involves illness.
Wait, say that again?
All up the steps that we're taking, right? We're climbing a ladder, a spiritual ladder. We're climbing a spiritual ladder. And in each life, ideally, we get another rung, or 2 or 3 rungs. If you get on a fast track and you say, okay, let's go, you start climbing the ladder. Up to a certain point, in that spiritual progression, which goes over lifetimes, each rung involves some transformation in your body, through the body. And oftentimes the big ones, like jumping from chakra to chakra, involve illness. And the illness provides the mechanism through which the spirit evolves. At a certain point, that's not true anymore, but for a long time it is. And if you learn how the chakras work and you learn to look at it that way, you can look at yourself and other people and say, oh, I see. Yeah, that's really difficult, and they're really going through a hard thing. But what's trying to happen is their heart's opening. So they have all this stuff going on here, Oh my God, man, that guy had a heart attack. Why? A heart attack because he wouldn't open his heart. And his heart was like, too bad, I'm opening. I'm going to stick my third chakra. No, I have to work. I have to keep working. I have to take care of my family. I'm not ready. I have to do it. And my heart goes, you made a prayer. Sorry. Now you can't work. Now you have to open your heart. And again, I'm not saying all the illness is that. I'm not trying to make anybody's pain or anybody's process. I'm not denigrating it. I'm hoping I'm elevating it. It means something. The illnesses that I've had plenty in my life, each one has, as I've transformed it, has taken me to a new step in my own spiritual development, and also my development as a person and as a healer. So I'm very grateful, even though it's at times been really, really difficult. In the middle of it, like, well, who wants to be sick? Nobody wants to be sick. Who wants to be sick? But you got to go through it. So I'm saying, try out this framework, that whatever you're going through in your lives is calling you to your heart. So what do you do, right? Oh shit, oh well, let's go. As soon as I say let's go, it gets easier. It gets easier for a couple reasons, a couple ways. One, I'm not doing this fighting thing in me as much. The second thing is the heart calls to itself the help that you need. The heart calls to itself the help that you need. Because there's help available, there's lots of help available. The heart will call it to you. I'll give you an example. It happened to me yesterday. It happened to me all the time in my life. I spent a month in Mexico in March, every March. My wife and I go to Mexico, we work at lunch, blah, blah, blah. He bought me lunch downtown Mexico City, blah, 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 blah. And he ordered raw fish, and I ate some raw fish, and I got nailed. So yesterday, and it came and went, came and went, came and went, came and went. A couple of days ago, it came back again. And I'm like, and people say, I have many friends and many healers, and they're all like, I think you should take this. What about take this? What about do this? What about do that? Here, I'm going to tell you, there's this tea, there's this thing. I'm like, oh my God, help, what am I supposed to do? And so I stopped and I went like this. I said myself in my heart, I prayed, I said, okay, I really need help. I need the thing that's going to help. I don't know what it is. Everybody's got an idea. I can't do it. Help me. So I go out, my wife and I go out to run some errands. And we drive up, we have to drop some off at the cleaners, and in front of my car, sitting eating lunch in an outdoor cafe, is Shannon's brother, Kevin, who runs an Ayurvedic herb company. And I'm like, you guys. I was too sick to get out of the car. My wife walks out of the cleaners, and I know what she's going to do. She walks in, she says, Kevin, Jonathan needs this stuff. He looks at me and he goes, oh yeah, it's in my office. So tomorrow I'm going to start taking this up, and it's going to help me. I know it's going to fix me. That's not because I'm like a super brilliant person. It's because I practice a lot following my heart. When I first started doing this work, we did it in Boston. We did it in the neighborhood in Boston. I would walk out of my house, and I would walk in the neighborhood. It was a neighborhood of lots of different streets, and I would take a walk, and every corner I would come to, I would say, okay, right, left, or straight. And I would just do what my heart said. Now, we lived in a neighborhood that, it was theoretically possible that I could really get nailed walking down the street because we lived in the middle of Boston, and I could have walked into a gang war, But I didn't know that, so I didn't have any other information. So I was like, okay, and we left. Right, next one, turn right, keep going straight. Inevitably, I'd run into a friend, blah, 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 we'd go have ice cream together, whatever it was. I practiced in ways that were not, as far as I knew, overly consequential. You know what I mean? That I wasn't changing something in my life dramatically. I was just taking a walk. So I started that way, little. What's my heart like? Open the refrigerator. What do you want right now? Oh, nothing. Really? Okay. I'll eat that, like that. As far as I knew, it didn't make a difference. Up to big things. Up to, okay, I have this thing to decide in my life. It's really intense. I know that it's going to have ripples. I know that that there are people telling me not to do it. That people don't want me to do it. I'm getting advice from all different sides. Help me. Okay, let's go. Oh shit, oh well, let's go. And I can just say that in terms of my life over these last 25 years, it's worked out really well. It's worked out to be sitting with a group of lovely people in this incredible space that Shannon created because she followed her guidance, doing this work that seems to have good use to a number of people, and and being able to feel my heart and receive life. And I have food on my table, right? Nobody's starving, and I get to do some pretty interesting things. That's the truth. That's what I want to say. That's pretty much it. I'm not trying to make myself an example of anything. It's just that you've got to live it. You've got to walk your talk. That's another thing that, as far as I can tell, makes this authentic. If you're going to do it, do it. So that's what I see in the people I see in this room and the people come to work with us. Is people, there's an authentic, true, heart-centered way of being that we learn how to do. And sometimes it can be embarrassing, and sometimes it can be, we have to let go of lots of pride. Lots of pride. St. Augustine said that pride dies 3 days after the person does. Right? You have to let go of lots of pride. And sometimes that means you have to cry, and sometimes that means you have to get pissed and run out of the room and just hate all these people that are making you be truthful. But what I see is people who are good to their hearts and who are understanding and receiving life. And that seems to be a really good thing. So let's do this. Let's just take a moment and let's do a little exercise here. Is that okay? Now we're going to do some New Age rule. This is what we call doing the flow. This is the thing. So what I'm just going to ask you to do is, I'm going to use certain words, and you just do whatever it means to you. Okay? The first thing is to just feel your feet on the ground and whatever connecting through your feet to the sensation of the earth, however you do that, by an image, by a sensation, by a seeing, a feeling. Everybody has their way of perception. It's one of the things that we teach in our workshops. Everybody has your way. Some people are more visual, some people are more kinesthetic, some people are more sensory. Whatever your way is, imagine, sense, feel the earth. You live in Bend on volcanic earth, right? There's lots of vibration, energy, and so on. Now, breathe. Just take advantage of the clean air and breathe. Like that. Now, put one hand on your lower belly and the other in the center of your chest. And start at the bottom, lower belly. And as you breathe between your hands. Just start, take an inhale and touch with your breath, your lower hand, and then just bring the image of your breath, the feeling of your breath, the sense of your breath right up straight through the center of your body. And do it really gently. It doesn't have to be dramatic. What you're doing is feeling through your breath the center of your body. Now bring both your hands in front of your heart, the center of your chest, with your fingers sticking out. I talked about a bowl. You're making a bowl with your hands here. Now, where your fingertips are, put the heel of your hand. In other words, put your hands up front of your heart as much again as you already have. Put the heel of your hands where your fingertips are, so your fingertips now are twice as far out. where your fingers are, the bowl that you're making with your fingers, is the place in your bodies where faith lives. Faith is an energy. Faith is a vibration. Faith is not a religion. It has nothing to do with religion. Some people who are religious have faith, but everybody has faith built into your body. This is faith. Faith tells you that somebody, somewhere, some level of creation knows what's going on, even though most especially you don't. Somehow there's a solution. Somehow, beyond your mind, beyond your ability to make it happen, there is a solution. If you have some particular problem, some particular dilemma, some particular situation, some particular health challenge, something that has had you stuck, take that in your inner vision and put it out of this bowl. Just place it in the bowl. Speak it in your inner voice. See it. Just declare it. I'm putting this in this bowl. Most especially something that you have no idea how to fix, how to solve, how to work with. Or something that you've worked with a long time and it just hasn't resolved. Now what we're going to do collectively here is we're just going to call light to shine upon it. Because faith is a doorway through which light can enter to the heart, enter into your bodies. Pay attention as we do this to what you feel, what you sense, what you see, what you hear, without judgment. There's no right or wrong answers here. There you go, like that. And if you choose, if you're feeling, seeing, hearing, sensing something that feels positive to you, offer up that which you put in the bowl. Offer it to that light inside yourself. Here, you take it. I'm choosing to trust, because I don't know how to fix this. I don't know what to do about it. I'm choosing to give this to you. Whatever you need, you, that, them, nothing. Now join your breath, breathe, and put your breath into that bowl as well. Through your heart, breathe up your center and let your breath come right through the front of your chest. Joining your positive energy of your body that you can command with the light. bring your hands very gently together in what's called a prayer position, right? Your palms together, fingertips together. It's at that same place. And now raise your hands to be in front of your throat. Same distance from your body, but in front of your throat. So you've raised it another 4 or 5 inches. Open your hands again into the bowl. This is the place in your energy bodies, your vehicle as we call it, of gratitude. Literally, this is when you are grateful, what vibrates is this place in your aura right there. Make an assessment of the state of your gratitude. How open is your gratitude? What part does gratitude play in your life? Not just gratitude for the things you have, but literally the vibration of gratitude in your bodies. Invoke that now. Maybe you want to feel something right there. Maybe you feel your chest expand, your throat gets a little bigger. This is how you receive light in your bodies, it's through gratitude. Through the portal of gratitude on top of the bowl of faith. Now let your hands do whatever they want. They may spread out, they may come into a prayer position in front of your heart, they may come out into another configuration. Let your hands receive light. Let your hands be guided by the light through your heart. You don't have to know that consciously. You just relax and let that happen whatever going to happen. You don't have to name it anything. You just allow it. In this space, yourself to feel, sense, hear, see some kind of a gift now, a gift from this life, a message, a picture, a feeling, healing. Make yourself available right now to whatever it is that you are being offered right now. The answer to a question. Inspiration, intuition. one of the most important things that people do for each other, that humans do for each other, is witness. So, if something that you have received in this moment feels like you want to have it witnessed by somebody, because sometimes saying it makes it happen, you know what I mean? If that's true for you, tell the person next to you. Just take a moment. Tell the person, make yourself available. Even if you don't know the person, just, do you have anything you want to tell me? Anything you want to affirm? Anything you saw? Look at what you received from the light was the Powerball number. Just remember where you heard it. So, questions, comments. Just spend a few more minutes together here. Anything you want to affirm, anything you want to ask, anything you want to challenge. We are.
I have a question. As I've been exploring this, it's interesting having a job to do, and coming. I still like this. There's this play of trying to figure out where to come from in my work, working with teens, and so it's just I'm not sure. You have any how does one approach that, I guess, to find that?
Well, I think, first of all, right, what you were doing this, coming here. I mean, that's exactly the deal. For me, I refer back to something I said earlier. What's in charge? Because there are moments, there are third chakra moments, right? Especially working with teens, you're like, hey, you know what I mean? Right now, no bullshit like that. There are moments for sure, and that's what I'm saying is that it's not a question. We don't leave our third chakra to be nothing. But in a moment of choice, who's in charge is the heart. My experience in that kind of a situation, in that kind of wow, something needs to be done here, and there's something serious going on, and here's what I imagine I have to do. When I ask my heart, what should my third chakra do? More often than not, these days, the answer is, shut up. For me. Leave it. Don't do it. Wait on it. You know, when you're playing baseball, wait on it. Wait. And when the moment comes that's appropriate, my heart says, go. Say it. Now. And here's how to say it. So it makes use of my third chakra, which can be quite straight and clear and strong, but it molds it into something because the heart has the greater sense. So you're dealing with the person. The heart can sense that person's inner being and actually can guide the words and the intervention in a way that really gets in and really helps them, so that it's not just conflictual. You know what I mean? Look, I'm in charge. Okay, but here we go. So, you know what I mean? It's not one or the other, but it is who's in charge. And sometimes you got to smack them down, but you can do it. And the heart says, now it's time to smack them down.
My journey is, earlier in my life I tried to live more from my heart, but I had some blocks and some issues with the third chakra, so part of it was actually coming back and like I needed to have those skills or abilities.
Yeah.
So like just take a detour back because I had skipped a formative step to be able to actually be in the fourth chakra. When you talk about the necessity of, again, not transcending, but actually you let that learn how to ride the stage.
For sure.
Practice.
But what you're describing sounds like that decision to go back was guided by your heart. Right? In other
In
words,
crisis, yeah.
yeah, it's like, okay. You know. So yeah, there are moments we need to go back and like, well, oh, you skipped that. You got now you're going to have to go back and work that. I have that as well. You know, some things that will come out. Or I thought that was done. Oh, here it comes again. The question is, who's in charge of the process? The overall process, even if it's a moment to go down and, so to speak, to descend. Still, I can be like, yeah, how are we doing? Because the tricky thing about, for instance, healing modalities that are centered in the third chakra is can become endless. The cultural archetype is, Woody Allen, right? I've been in therapy for like 75 years, and he's still talking. You are very welcome to do that. I can affirm this. The space is safe. The first priority that we have is that the space is safe. And you know what I mean by that. Not just physically. It's not, of course. But the first thing is the space is held from the heart and from intuition and guided from what we experience as the higher level of consciousness. But we take total responsibility for what happens, you know what I mean? It's not, that's another thing. It's like we integrate this. So we take responsibility for the space. People come together. We pay a lot of attention to who's there and what does that person need, and we're working with these spiritual forces, what I call the authentic spiritual forces that want to come and work on Earth. They do. And we do what we can to make that a safe space and a real space, and no bullshit, truthfulness, and lots of love. And we do. We do that. Not because we're better than anybody else, but because we've been guided to do that, and we do it as a collaboration. So if one person isn't doing so good in one moment, somebody else picks up for it. It's not just about me. It's not about me at all. I just have been given the honor to be the person in the center of it. It's a great honor. I have to transform myself in front of everybody, so sometimes it's a pain in the ass. But it's an honor.